Booking the role of Carla in the movie Forrest Gump was one of the most exhilarating moments of my life. And although it wasn't the biggest role that I had ever booked, it definitely was one of the biggest films. However, when the script arrived, I was shocked. It read topless on Lieutenant Dan's lap in one of the scenes, something that was never mentioned in any of the auditions, and a clear boundary that I had already set for myself in the past. But what did I do? I took a chance and I showed up on set to speak my boundary, not knowing if it would be honored or what decision the director or I would have to make next if it wasn't honored. So I asked Bob Zemeckis privately if I could do the scene in a bra, something that I felt way more comfortable doing. And here's what happened and how the B code carried me through. Welcome to the B Code by Tiffany, where we get bold, independent, tenacious, confident, and honest about building a life that you're actually proud of. I'm Tiffany Antosi, life coach, author, and former actress, and I believe so much in creative visualization, clear boundaries, and showing up unapologetically yourself. So today I'm taking you behind the scenes of Forrest Gump, booking the role of Carla, one of the very few female speaking roles in the film, speaking a boundary with respect, learning a Brooklyn accent in a day, and recovering from a painful onset mishap, all while holding on to my integrity and my B code. This episode of the B Code was brought to you by my upcoming book, How to Become a Bitch and Live Happily Ever After. In this book, I reclaim BITCH as an acronym. It's not about attitude, it's about freedom. And inside, I take you deeper into each of these 5 pillars, expanding them into a full journey back to yourself. This book is my heart, my story, and the framework that has helped countless women transform their lives. It comes out this year, but you don't have to wait. I created a free B Code starter guide just for you. 5 pillars, 5 practices, 1 powerful shift, so that you can start stepping into your bold, independent, tenacious, confident, and honest self, which just happens to be the best version of you. It's yours at blossomlifeco.com/B Code starter guide. Download it today and start living your B Code. I knew that I had booked the role of Carla as soon as I walked into the audition, because I had visualized that audition like my life depended on it. I felt the call. I heard, "You booked it." And it happened. I booked Carla. And like I said, there weren't many other female speaking roles in the movie, so this was a big win. But here's what people don't know. I knew Carla wasn't just a character. I had to become her. She was bubbly, wild, party energy, and I needed to walk into that audition already wearing her spirit like a second skin. So I asked myself, how do I get into party mode when I'm not feeling party mode at 11 a.m. in the morning? And I came up with a way. I used creative visualization. I started laughing at home. At first it was forced, yes, fake, almost ridiculous, but I just kept going. And then something shifted. I honestly couldn't stop laughing. It took on a life of its own. Real laughter, unstoppable laughter, and suddenly I was in it. The energy was alive in my body. And the whole way to the audition, I was still laughing. Even at the audition, when the casting director introduced herself to me, I could not stop laughing. And that's when I knew Carla was already ingrained in me. I didn't have to act bubbly. I was her. It worked. And just like that, I was officially on the party train in one of the biggest films in history. And then the script arrived. Big shock. It read a topless scene with Lieutenant Dan, something that was never mentioned in the auditions, and a direct clash with a boundary that I had set for myself. I don't judge anyone who chooses nudity. It just wasn't me. So I asked to speak privately with Bob Zemeckis. Here I was approaching one of the biggest Hollywood directors, Robert Zemeckis, with Tom Hanks, Gary Sinise, Sally Field, and Robin Wright, just to name a few attached to this film. But from the moment I read the script, I knew this movie would be a hit. I didn't know if my boundary would be honored or what decision he or I would need to make next if it wasn't. And calmly, respectfully, I said, "Thank you for trusting me with the role of Carla, but I'm just not comfortable being topless. And I believe the scene still serves a story if I wear a bra. Could we do that?" So I offered a solution, and I let silence do its job. He listened, and he said yes. Did the film suffer? I don't think so. My performance didn't suffer, and I kept my promise to myself. And then came curveball number 2. "Oh, by the way, you need to have a Brooklyn accent in a couple days." I had never done one before. So what did they do? They brought in a dialect coach on set. The other actress that was playing Lenore was from New York, so she could tap into this accent easily. Me? I had to be tenacious and learn fast. So we built an anchor phrase and we drilled the signature sounds, and I even stayed in the accent in between takes. Perfect? Maybe not. Committed and truthful? Yes. And it worked. The production was the most elaborate that I had ever been on, down to even the craft services. It was like a small city that appeared out of nowhere just to make this amazing film. And then, the moment that I had a mishap on the set. In this moment, it could have taken me out. So during a take, Lieutenant Dan's wheelchair wasn't locked, and he threw me, and I hit the bed frame, and yes, the air left my body. Everyone rushed in. It was so embarrassing. I couldn't even move for a moment. Mortified and painful, yes. Later, I discovered a bruise that nearly covered my entire back. But this was one of the biggest opportunities of my life. So I breathed, I regrouped, and I pushed through the pain. And I finished the scene. Because tenacity isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it's simply getting up even when your lungs or body disagree. And the best was when I was celebrating the Academy Award for Best Film at the Forrest Gump party. And Tom Hanks came over to me and he handed me the Academy Award to hold, and he said, "You are part of this." That moment hit me so deep because I had such a small role, but it was pivotal. And for him to walk over to me and make me feel like I contributed in some way, like I mattered, was one of the most special moments in my life. I'll never forget that. Now we're going to talk about how I stepped into my bold, independent, tenacious, and confident self within this film. So here's the B code breakdown. B for bold. Bold isn't loud, it's aligned. And it was quietly asking in private for a change with respect and clarity and saying, "I'm not comfortable with X. I can do Y." I for independent. Independent is choosing from your values, not pressure or star power. Even when the room is filled with icons, your inner compass needs to lead. T for tenacious. So tenacity booked the film and learned a Brooklyn accent in a day. It showed up when I got the wind knocked out of me and I kept going. C for confident. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's self-trust under uncertainty. So I trusted myself to speak up and to master what I could fast. Honest. H for honest. Honesty starts inside. It's me saying to myself, "This isn't me." And then it becomes clean and clear communication. Here's what still serves the scene and the film. And that's your beat code breakdown. Before I share how I used Flip the Switch in that moment and on the film of Forrest Gump, here's what it is. Flip the Switch is my instant thought reset. So when a self-sabotaging thought pops up, I catch it, I challenge it, and then I change it with a truer, more empowering thought that serves me and one that I can act on. I'm not pretending that everything's perfect, but I am choosing a thought that's more useful and honest for me. And in cognitive behavioral therapy, this is called cognitive restructuring, or you might also hear it as thought challenging or reframing. And CBT teaches that our automatic thoughts shape how we feel and then act. And it gives us tools to question those thoughts and swap them for clear, more accurate ones. My method is quick, and real life version, and you can use it anywhere. And this is how you can flip the switch in under a minute. Notice the automatic thought and name the pattern. Is it catastrophizing, mind reading, all or nothing? And then neutralize your body. So take in a few slow breaths and put your shoulders down. And then reframe with a truer, more helpful line that you can act on and one that serves you. And then move. So take the next aligned action immediately. Don't wait. And here's how I flipped it in my Forrest Gump moment. So my fear thought was, if I speak up, I'll lose everything. I'll get fired off this job. I'll never work for these people again, and it'll be humiliating. But then when I flip the switch, I can say to myself, when I speak up respectfully, honoring me, I gain alignment, and we can find a solution. Here's another fear thought. I can't learn a Brooklyn accent in a day. Then when you flip the switch, it's I can learn what matters most today and get better every take. And then you say each flip 3 times. And then this starts becoming your default mindset. My intention for you for this episode is this. May you honor your boundaries with quiet courage. Even when the room is powerful, full of icons, the stakes are high, and the outcome is unknown. May you remember that your values are not obstacles to your dreams. They are the path to them. And may you ask clearly, offer workable solutions, and trust that self-respect is never the wrong choice. And when a new skill is required quickly, may you meet it with curiosity, discipline, and grace. And when embarrassment or setbacks show up, may you breathe, reset, and continue without making pain or embarrassment your identity. You allow yourself to take up space with kindness. You allow yourself to be direct without apology. You allow yourself to be guided by alignment over approval. So here's a one-sentence anchor and that you could repeat a few times. I can be both gentle and unshakable. My boundary stands and my craft rises. And that's the B code. So here are some takeaways for this episode. Boundaries invite better outcomes. Say what you're not available for and offer one clear alternative. Confidence is self-trust. You don't need certainty, you need your voice. Tenacity is quiet consistency. So breathe, reset, and keep going after setbacks. And learn what matters most first. So focus on the small step that moves things forward today and now. And then flip the switch. Notice it, name the distortion, neutralize it, reframe it, and move. And one small action today that you can take is pick one boundary that you've avoided. Say it out loud with one workable option by using my flip the switch technique. And I want you to know that you're not broken. You don't need fixing. What you need is remembering. Remembering how to tap into your worth, your voice, your power. And that's what we're going to do here together, here on this podcast. Because you are the heroine of your own story. I'm just here to remind you. So I hope you tune in and join me every other week to get your dose of truth, empowerment, and perhaps a gentle nudge to become the woman you were always meant to be.